So what is Lent and why do we practice it?
Lent is it's a way of preparation of your heart as you're getting ready for the Easter season and Holy Week specifically, mainly because it can sneak up on us. And we've had so many times, I have in my own past, where it's been, I'll look down at my calendar, my watch, and I'm going, holy cow, like Easter's next week. And I'm a preacher, like that's a big deal that it sneaks up on me. And you know, Christmas, it never sneaks up on you in Christmas time. You have so much time, the music and the celebration is a whole season that you're getting ready for it, and then you get to celebrate it big. But oftentimes Easter, which is the most important day of the Christian year, the Resurrection Sunday, we're not ready for it. And so it's about creating a season of soul preparation. It's a little bit antithetical to Christmas, which is all food and celebrations and lights and fun, whereas this is about sacrifice and about fasting and about entering into the sufferings of Christ so that you celebrate the resurrection the way that you should. And honestly, it was created by the early church. They didn't call it Lent. Lent just it refers to springtime. But the early practice was about preparation for baptism. So almost always in the early church, they baptized on Easter Sunday. It was the most sacred Sunday of the year, Resurrection Sunday. And so because people were leaving a lifestyle that was like totally different, they were abandoning their old life, oftentimes family and friends and work, they had to have a time of preparation. Are they ready to make this decision? And so for 40 days, during what we call Lent now, they would have a time where they would just work on understanding the scriptures, understanding the costs, getting their hearts ready. It would be time of fasting and praying so that by Easter Sunday, they would be ready to be baptized. And so we do it, not to be ready to be baptized, but as a way to get our hearts ready to celebrate the resurrection. And maybe there are a number who will get baptized on Easter Sunday because we do the same thing, but it's a great way to make sure our hearts are prepared for what's coming.
Why does your church practice Lent? It's not in the Bible.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we do that aren't expressly written in the Bible. Like honestly, our worship service and the basic structure of it. So to have a certain number of songs and then an offertory moment and then a sermon that's usually about 35 minutes and then some kind of response time at the end. And none of that is written in the Bible, prescribed in the Bible. And so what you had in the early church is you met in homes and you'd have a few people who would share some scriptures and maybe there'd be some hymns or songs that you would sing. You'd take the Lord's Supper, but around a meal. It's a very different environment. And so what you do is you take the scriptural truths and you adapt them to the culture that you live in and try to speak in a way that helps you live out your Christian faith. And so what is prescribed in the Bible, and this is in the book of Joel, it talks about get our hearts ready. It says consecrate a fast, call a solemn assembly, pull the people together. There are times in the Bible, you look at Kings, and they would call together seasons of fasting and times of fasting and prayer. And so that's what Lent is just taking that and giving it a framework in preparation for Easter where we are calling together fasting, because part of it is every week, one day a week, we do a 24-hour fast collectively. We highly encourage the church to come to our Wednesday prayer gatherings in order to pray, because we are calling a solemn assembly. We're calling a fast. We're consecrating ourselves for this season, which is a very biblical concept that you see in multiple, both Old and New Testament. And so we're just trying to live that out in a context today that helps us conceptualize what it is so that we can be ready for Easter.
Is Lent, the season of Lent, meant to be a legalistic ritual practice, or what is the purpose of Lent?
Yeah, I mean, anything that we do, if we approach it with the wrong heart, this is one of the things Jesus talks about in the Sermon on the Mount, like, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So the heart of everything that we do, the why behind what we do matters so much. And so we can turn church attendance into something legal. We can turn Bible reading into something legalistic. And Lent is very easy to turn in legalistic. Like, okay, I'm super spiritual because I give up something. Like I give up caffeine, or I fast one day a week, and so that's a danger in any scriptural activity that we would put ourselves to. I think the thing that helps avoid that legalism is to remind yourself that in this season of sacrifice, it's just supposed to help you see that Jesus sacrificed so much more than you. Like, there's not an amount of food that you can give up that's going to equate to the sacrifice of Christ on the cross. There's not anything you can give up. You give up social media or online shopping or whatever, but there is nothing that you give up that even compares to what Jesus did. So instead of creating legalism, it creates gratitude for how much greater the sacrifice of Jesus is for us. And so it softens our heart. It helps us remember we are not worthy, but Jesus is, and makes us more indebted to Him, more in love with what He did for us, more ready to serve Him. And that's the opposite of legalism. So it's just about the heart that you approach this season of Lent with.
How are you leading our church to practice Lent in this season?
the main thing for our church when it comes to Lent is just to be able to say, what are things that I need to put off? What are ways that, this is taken from Ephesians 4, you got to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life. And then it says, and be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and then to put on the new self. And so it's just really a season to do that kind of over and over. So I'm asking the church, what are some things that we're going to put off, stop doing, just to make sure they don't have a grip on us? So like, for example, for me, I don't drink caffeine during this season because I know caffeine can get a grip on me. It takes me like a month to get off of caffeine because I'm just that sensitive to it. And so it's just like, is it gripping me? Do I need to put it off for a season? My wife, one of the things that's important to her is like, it's the music she listens to, and she wants to make sure that she can put off other kinds of music and make sure that her focus is on the Lord during the season. And so I encourage people to choose, what are some things I can put off to make sure they don't control me or own me? And then I want to be renewed in the spirit of my mind. And so what are some things that I can do during the season, like Bible reading, scripture memorization, coming to the prayer gatherings, daily journaling, things like that. I'm filling my mind with more and more of Christ during the season. So it's a 40-day period. Like I can do anything for 40 days if I just, if I determine I want to do that for this season. And then what do I put on? And that's some of the behaviors that I want to have during Lent that maybe I don't always give attention to. I want to write notes of gratitude to people that I need to say thank you for. I want to make sure I try to serve somebody every single day, or once a week my family's going to go to a shelter and try to serve. Like, I'm just going to do something that is the way of Christ, that is loving on people. And so what do I take off? How do I renew my mind? And what do I put on? And these three are just a way to conceptualize how to celebrate the season of Lent to get ready for Easter Sunday.